I'm dishing with musicians. I'm dishing with musicians. A talk show about history. I'm dishing with musicians. I'm dishing with musicians. Let's take a stroll down music history.
Oh my goodness. Hi everybody. My name is Mikey Simrod, here tonight. A brisk fall evening in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm in the center of the United States, Lincoln, Nebraska. Beautiful city. College town is where University of Nebraska is. Huskers aren't doing so well right now. That's okay. We like to keep ourselves optimistic doing other things besides domestic violence when they lose. I think it literally goes up 30%, I heard. But we're not going to talk about that. I am so excited. I've got the other half of the Reeves Brothers. One of my favorite living honky-tonk bands today. And I got to say, I had Cole Reeves, the brother, on, I think it was 2 episodes ago. And I didn't want to have both of the brothers on at the same time because I feel like their stories are kind of different. And I wanted, well, and primarily Matt is a guitar dork, just like I am. And so I really wanted to pick his brain on guitar gear and just get to the bottom of how awesome his family is, his family history. Their father was well-known. Jack Reeves was a well-known country singer. And I'm so excited to pick down into the layers of that tonight. So make sure to share this if you could. We love that organic love. And this stream, I started this stream during the pandemic and it just kind of grew on me. And it's been so much fun getting to bring different artists on here and just, kind of discover new things about modern, amazing artists, amazing musicians mostly. But we talk about, sometimes we bring up food. It started as a food music show and now it's kind of melted into all kinds of different cool stuff. But I'll ask him about food. I'm going to ask him about food. I'm sure he likes to eat. We all like to eat from time to time, and he likes music and playing out and living the lifestyle. Him and his brother play all over the place. In 2018, they won the best the best honky-tonk band at the Ameripolitan Awards. Now, if you don't know about the Ameripolitan Awards, it's kind of like the Grammys for people that don't like the Grammys. That's how I like to explain it. And my wife and I were invited down there by Dale Watson and in 2018, and we were just blown away. I couldn't believe it. And we were staying at this beautiful hotel in Memphis, and out of nowhere walks the Reeves brothers into this hotel. And I instantly noticed them. I recognized them. And I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is like a star-studded week, actually. People start filtering in with their vintage cars and their bands come into play and just hang out. And, it was incredible. And that's where I first met them. And so I had the luck of kind of crossing paths with these guys. So anyway, let's get them on here. Enough about me, but make sure to spread the word, and you can comment in on this, folks. It's a live broadcast. So make sure, if you have any questions, make sure to comment in. We always love, throwing questions at these amazing artists. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Matt Reeves. He's in Arkansas. Hey, Mr. Matt.
Mikey, my man. I'm so happy to be here with you, dude.
Yeah. What's shaking, man?
Dude, we're coming off of about 4 or 5 weeks. I shouldn't even say coming off. We're resting for a week, and then we're going back out on the road next week at some point.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
You're back in it. I bet it feels good.
Yeah, it feels great. So great. Yeah.
Awesome.
We have been hitting everywhere, man. We've been out for about September 7th is when we jetted out for Fallon, Nevada from Nashville. And we went from Fallon up to Billings, Montana with Justin Moore. We did a little run up there with him. And then we went to Idaho, and then we went to Nashville. And we went back to Arkansas, back to Nashville, and did an Oklahoma run. Yeah.
That's killer. So where do I'm sure the people want to know, where do you call home base?
Right now it's Nashville. Cole and I moved to Nashville. When you interviewed Cole, we were living here in Arkansas.
That's what I thought. I remember that.
Yeah. And so about probably a month after that, we took out and we just decided on a whim to move to Nashville.
Now, Nashville's kind of an interesting place for you guys, because to me, you guys are the real stuff. And you know, I mean, we could get into this like deep discussion and hammer modern country, you know, like the old, the past 20, 30 years people have been doing. They're saying basically it's like hip hop with a fiddle. And to me, I kind of believe that still, but I haven't heard. I mean, I guess I do like Chris Stapleton and some of the modern stuff. Jason Isbell, especially, great songwriters are coming up and into this sort of Ameripolitan or Americana vibe. But you guys are straight up old school honky tonk. I mean, you sound like the good stuff that we all grew up on. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, we that's just that's our heroes, and right. And I mean, there's a ton of people. I want to get this out there. There's a ton of people in Nashville that are doing that, you know, that do the same stuff that we do. And, okay. So we're not. I don't think we're a rarity by any means. I mean, you know, Marty Stewart, I think, is knocking it out, you know, that way. Oh yeah, 100%. And and so there's a lot of guys like that, and so it was just we got locked up with Justin Moore's manager one day, and we were talking to him, and he's like, man, you guys, I mean, he was saying the same thing. He's like, you know, you guys, he asked us to play our favorite Merle Haggard song, which everybody, it's funny because everybody, that's a loaded question. And everybody in Nashville kind of, just not even in Nashville in general, expects you to say Mama Tried or, you know, maybe Working Man Blues or something like that. And so Cole sang "Tell Me Something Bad About Tulsa." And actually, no, Cole did. Cole sang "What Do You Have Planned Tonight, Diana?" because that's Cole's favorite Haggard song. Cut. Those are deep cuts. Yeah, love it. So deep cut. And Justin's manager started laughing because he was sending it to Justin, and he was like, do you know any other? And Cole we both were like, well, we know 90 to 100 Merle Haggard songs, you know. Sure. And so anyways, Cole did some Stay Here and Drink, and we did some other stuff for him. But that's just awesome. What we grew up on, so we love it. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a big Marty. I'm wearing a Marty Stewart shirt. I didn't plan this. Dude, I love it. I got this at when he toured. He came through Omaha, like 2017, maybe 18, something like that. Yeah. And he played in Omaha, and at this small place. I mean, it was alarmingly small, I thought, for Marty Stewart. Yeah. But the superlatives, you know, they just came out with Way Out West and just destroyed this bar. They just destroyed it. I'm sure. Yeah. But I understand. Yeah. I heard, because I'm such a big fan, I do some digging once in a while. I heard that Kenny Vaughn plays like a regular show in Nashville. Do you know about this? Dude, I go to see it. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I do. He's so Kenny is in a band with a guy named Dave Rowe. And so Dave's story was that he moved to Nashville and he got a call one day, like after not being there long and not really having, I don't think, many connections. But he could slap the bass, and Dave will tell you he wasn't very good at it, but I'm sure that that's a lie. And because he's amazing. But Jerry Reed had heard about this kid in Nashville that was slapping a bass. It was during kind of the period where Jerry was like going full on electric. Like they were like rocking all these PV Special 130s, and like everybody, semi trucks were coming into Nashville and giving everybody PV amps, PV guitars, you know, everything PV. So yeah, he had just got finished like with Smokey and the Bandit, and he wanted to put like this funky fusion, like rockin' country band together. So he called up Dave Rowe and he said, I want you to be in this band. And so Dave got his start there doing that with Jerry. That was his start.
that was like his start. Yeah. And then I think Dave got to fooling around with Jerry's daughter, and he ended up marrying her.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
Yeah. So Jerry was like, I think, kind of let him go because of the daughter thing, but he didn't let him go with any hard feelings. He was just like, I can't keep hitting the band while you're with my daughter. So Jerry got Dave a gig with Johnny Cash. When he let him go, he got him a gig with Johnny Cash.
Well, that's it. Yeah. What a second gig that is. Jeez.
Right. So yeah, so Dave Rowe is on bass, and then Kenny Vaughn is on not always a Telecaster. He kind of goes in between a Strat. It's a totally different gig than you would think. They play no country. And
really?
And if you request country, they'll just look at you and say wrong gig. And so, but phenomenal.
You're kidding.
They're called
what are they called?
They're called the Slow Beats.
The Slow Beats. What do they? What kind of genre is that?
It's like they play a lot of. I would say there's quite a bit of like some psychedelic stuff from the '60s in there, mixed with like some jazz fusion, some funk. Really? Stuff like that. So
that's crazy,
I think, man. Yeah, they all get as much country as they want being on the road.
Oh, I'm sure he gets healthy fill for sure, man. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, so Kenny Vaughn,
it's cool.
Kenny Vaughn, once I started digging in, this, and I'm gonna say I love following you and your brother because you guys are clearly obsessed with the same stuff I am. So it's really,
for sure.
It's super funny. You guys get new guitars and you get new like outrageous outfits, and I love everything you do, and your pick guards. It doesn't matter. It's like I can tell you're obsessed with the same stuff I am, so it's really funny to follow you guys and kind of see the same. I know that you've gone down the same rabbit holes that I have. So one being a B bender. Marty Stewart obviously plays Clarence White's B bender, which is like, it was Clarence White, was with the Byrds and made it famous with Sweetheart of the Rodeo, as I'm sure you know. And so when I started building my Clarence White B bender, I started going down these, rabbit holes trying to figure out, okay, what parts do I need? How can I make it look the same? And all I kept coming across was Kenny Vaughn, and then and Marty Stewart, of course, but Kenny Vaughn, is he's sponsored by all these B bender. There's videos of him online and stuff, and you actually have you've kind of done the same thing that I did. You sort of built your own B bender of sorts.
I did. Yeah.
So how did you start doing that?
That started with. This is a long story. So,
hey, that's why we're here. We got some time and people are listening, man. This is great.
My dad. So there was like this
Jack
weird,
Reeves.
my dad. Jack Reeves. And so Dad, we had grown up, we knew, well, he's a singer. That's his job and whatever. And we were obsessed with that anyways. We loved being on stage and doing that. And he was always really good friends with a guy named Gib Guilbeau, who Gib was in Nashville West with Clarence. And so Gib used to come down quite frequently, and I mean, when I was 13 or 14, I could call Gib and we would talk about just random shit. And, he would spend the day talking to me doing that. And so Gib, and then Wayne Moore, who was the bass player in Nashville West with Clarence and Gene Parsons. And Wayne was like my uncle. And like mine and Cole's both. Wow. And so anyways, they were having this huge, I think it was a 60th birthday party. Maybe it was his 65th birthday party for Gib Guilbeau in Pahrump, Nevada, which we were living at the time. And it just kind of coincided with this record company. I believe it's somewhere overseas. I don't know if it's England or somewhere over in that part of the country. And so they sent a guy named Alec Paleo out with Ace Records, and they were putting this huge, like 30-track CD together of Clarence White's pre-Bender tracks that he had recorded, which he had two with Dad. Yeah.
Oh,
and so they were interviewing Dad, and they interviewed Wayne, and they interviewed Gib, and just got all these little stories for the book. And it ended up coming out. It was called The Tough and Stringy Sessions, like 66 to 68. And so
that's great.
Dude, yeah. And so they sent Dad a CD, and people, now people wouldn't get this, and it hasn't been that long ago, but like, you couldn't just hop on the internet at this time and find a CD in 2003 unless you kind of like were digging through the dark web to find what you wanted, especially if it was on a small label.
Right.
And
okay.
So Dad had one copy of this CD, and he kept it locked in this little blue trunk that he kept all of his little valuables in. Okay. And he was like, he said, "You kids do not touch this CD." And after about a year, I think that maybe 6 months, I was still 13. He left the house, and I was like, I have got to figure out what is on this CD.
Oh my gosh,
so
dude.
I put it in, and I was like, oh man, I was like, holy shit. This is, oh my God, this guy has just changed my life. And so that is when my obsession with everything Clarence White hit, when I was 13.
That's insane. So wait a minute. There's so many pieces of gold about this story. So
yeah.
So what's the name of the 30 song?
It's called Clarence White, The Tough and Stringy Sessions.
And you find this online? Is this available anywhere?
Yeah, it is available. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you for sure. It's highly recommended. So
okay.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And your dad is a part of this? Your dad did a couple songs on it?
Yeah, they only released one of the songs that Dad did because there was a ton of music that Clarence had cut. Sure. And so, but they had sent Dad. Dad hadn't heard any of these things ever remastered. I mean, our dad just didn't keep a whole bunch of his masters and stuff like that.
No, it's common. My dad didn't either. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, now it's just like I just paid $65 to some dude on eBay about 2 years ago for a sealed vinyl copy of his first record, because I was like, I'll be able, if it's sealed and it hasn't been screwed with, I can get somebody to like get a good clean copy off the vinyl and get the clicks and the pops and like actually make it sound good. So, So yeah.
Wow. Well, this is a great time. You keep bringing up your dad, and I talked to Cole, on our last stream together, and we dug into the genius and the sort of the icon of your dad, and Jack Reeves. Jack Reeves, if you kind of Google his name, you can find some old cuts online. My favorite song is called "The Gunslinger." That I came across, and it has this sort of Marty Robbins vibe, also very Johnny Cashy. I'm just throwing out names that people would know before they delve into the Jack Reeves catalog if they don't know him already. But it's just unbelievable, some of the pictures I came across, and some of the outfits on stage are super replicative of you guys. I mean, they also clearly you guys have been cut from the same cloth. Some of the outfits you guys wear on stage, it's the same vibe. But I saw this one, like a one-piece American flag outfit that I came across. That I've never seen anything like it. And there was like 2 or 3 guys wearing the same outfit.
That makes sense.
Nudie suit times 10. You know what I mean? It was just amazing, man. So give us a little backstory on your father, if you could.
Well, our dad was an amazing guy. He grew up in Delight, Arkansas, and Glenn Campbell was his cousin. They grew up together. Glenn lived over in Billstown. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so, they lived about 6 miles from each other, and Glenn was over in Billstown, and he was in Delight, and they went to grade school together, and so then they ended up, the whole Reeves family ended up moving to North Little Rock, and then our dad started boxing there, and he kind of became a big deal, boxer. He ended up, I think he fought something like 54 or 55 amateur fights, and he only lost 4 of them. So he was a real good boxer. And he ended up being the Mid-South Golden Glove champion. And
is really okay. I kind of remember Cole telling me about that. Yeah, I remember him having a boxing career. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cole's super into it. Cole knows more of all the details and everything. I'm probably getting some names mixed up, but yeah, he ended up. It kind of what closed out his boxing career was that he went and he fought a guy named Ernie Terrell. And if you've ever seen the movie Ali, where Ali beats the hell out of this guy and he keeps saying, "What's my name?" and he just beats the piss out of him. That's Ernie Terrell.
Oh, my
and
God.
so yeah, Dad fought Ernie Terrell about 10 years prior to Muhammad Ali fighting him.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
And Dad, so he fought him and he lost that fight. And then he decided, I'm going to quit doing that. And he moved to California, and he ended up becoming like a star football player. He had been playing football in college or in high school. And then he went to Santa Ana and just a junior college, but he ended up being in the Junior Rose Bowl. That they got that far that they were probably the second top team in the nation for junior colleges.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
Yeah, so he did that, and then in the 60s, he just decided that somebody told him, his neighbor said, "Hey, there's a band just a few blocks up the road, and on the weekends they get people up to sing, and you should go down there and sing with them." And so Dad went in there, and the woman was wrong. The guy was like, "Oh, we don't get people up to sing." And so Dad told him, he said, "Well, Glenn Campbell's my cousin, and and if you don't like how I'm singing after the second, verse, just throw me off the stage and I'm back up here."
Yeah.
And so Dad ended up taking that guy's job that night, and that was his start in the music business. That the owner came up to him after he did his song, and he said, "I'm looking for a guy to replace the act I've got here." And Dad said, "Well, I don't want to do that." And he said, "No, he was going to be fired anyway, so don't feel bad about it."
Yeah.
And so,
oh my gosh.
So that was, Dad told me, he said, "I don't have a band." And he said, "Well, you got, a few days to get yourself one." And so he did. And it was just a guitar player and a drummer. He had never even seen an electric bass at the time.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So he did that, and then worked his way up through the 70s playing, the Palomino Club and North Hollywood a lot. And just playing Vegas, he's got such a long history. I could be here 3 hours, diving into all the details, but it was a great career. Great career.
Did you mention earlier there's a book out there somewhere about his life, or is that in the works?
No, there's nothing in the works.
Okay. There should be, because people like this, and this is what I'm obsessed with, is because, and I've told this story, on this stream many times. My father was, had a hit song in '68, was with a band called the Smoke Ring, and was on American Bandstand and everything. Yeah. And it's like, document that, man. You got to document that stuff. And that's really the catalyst behind this podcast, is because, I just feel like there's so many great stories that that fill in the gaps of the mainstream ones that everybody knows, right? The Willies, the Johnny Cashes, and, all the Merles and whatever. But it's the stuff in between that sort of made the business run. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like,
for sure.
Yeah. And the connections that you're talking about, man. I mean, this is the glue that binds it all together. Right. And so, man, if you ever need help with that, reach out to me. I know we'll talk off screen about this, but I would love to help document the stories of your father, because it's just like, after talking to Cole and now after talking to you tonight, it needs to happen. Right. It's just, it's like so many killers. And like you said, you could talk all night about him. And he just recently passed, correct?
He did. He passed away on September 18th. So, one day from a little less than a month ago.
Unbelievable, man. And my condolences to the family, man. It's just, I knew that happened. And it's like, I knew that he was kind of in some bad health and stuff, and just incredible spirit, and, that's amazing. I mean, some of the stories Cole was telling me about how you guys were, just children, and you were kind of growing up in the honky tonks,
Yeah, we got.
Jeez.
I don't know. It's now it probably seems crazy to a ton of people. It didn't seem weird at all to us. We were just like, oh, this is our life. That dad's working and
right.
And so it's amazing because I don't know. I think Cole was so little by the time there was a portion of our dad's life where he was in just horrible health, and I kind of remember that being little and it was the first time he moved to Arkansas, and he had a triple bypass heart surgery. And then a year later, he tore his sciatic nerve in two, and he was paralyzed. And so they got him in, and they fused it back together. And then I think he felt so good after that, he was like, I got to get the hell out of Arkansas and go back to work. Yeah. And so he did. And he did that at about 59, 60 years old, and he just went to town out there just playing 5 nights a week, doing what he loved.
Jeez, man almighty. So, wow. That's incredible. And so predominantly down south, I'm guessing, is where he toured mostly. Is that correct? Or did he stay mostly in the same city playing?
No, he was in Los Angeles. He just stayed. They moved. From college, he moved to LA. Yeah, he moved out west, and that's where he stayed from 19. He moved there in 57, and I think that they left in 91 or 92.
So he was way west the whole time. Okay.
He was, he was dead in the middle of, the LA scene during all that. Yeah.
Wow, man. Okay. So that makes sense with the Birds and the connections there and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that connection with the Birds happened. I mentioned Wayne Moore, and he had met Wayne Moore. Wayne Moore had just got to town, and he didn't have any soles on the bottom of his shoes when my dad met him, because he had literally just got to California. He had hitchhiked almost the entire way by foot from Kentucky to LA. And so dad was like, our dad went and bought him a pair of shoes the first day he met him. He's like, you don't have any soles on your shoes left. And then I think that he met Gib Guilbeau about 6 months later through Wayne. And then through Wayne and Gib, he ended up probably 6 or 7 years later meeting Clarence White and Gene Parsons. And so, that was his catalyst of kind of meeting them and getting in with that clique. It was funny because you mentioned the gunslinger, that you said that you like that. So the guitar that's on Sweetheart of the Rodeo, that's on the Gunslinger. Bobby Wofford's playing it because Bobby owns the Sweetheart of the Rodeo guitar. So,
wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. Wow. So my wife, sometimes will be, evening hours having a few cocktails, and we'll get courageous or probably too stupid and buy tickets to things that we know we can't go to. and so one of these things happened to be that we bought tickets to the Ryman to see Sweetheart of the Rodeo, and Marty Stewart was, playing with the Birds, and it was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy it, and if we can go when the date comes up, we'll go. If we can't, I guess we'll just have we'll have the tickets and whatever else. And it just so happened we made the decision that we could probably go if we drove straight to Nashville from Lincoln, Nebraska, which is about 10 or 11 hours, maybe 12 hours. But we drove there, saw the show, and it blew our minds. Like I pulled her out of the Ryman during the last song. They were doing Turn, Turn, Turn as the last song. And not that I hate that song. I just was kind of like, hey, let's go in the back because they're going to be coming out the back. And so we did. And lo and behold, the whole band, including the two main Birds, came out, and they jumped, they were right there, and they were blowing kisses to my wife Carrie, and it was just
my gosh,
it blew my mind. I mean, the show was unbelievable with Marty Stewart, playing all those iconic songs from Sweetheart of the Rodeo, and then we drove back, and we were back home within 24 hours. It was unbelievable, but it was one of those. It was one of those moments where you just go, okay, we're going.
Yeah,
but
and the show we went in Dallas and we saw it. And
you did see it. Okay.
We
Well,
did see it. Yeah.
what happened was, Matt, that on the original schedule they released, they weren't coming anywhere near Nebraska. And what happened a week after the Ryman show, they announced an Omaha date in Nebraska.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Of
and
course.
so we were like, oh man, oh yeah, so be it. There
Sucks,
you
yeah.
go. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
what it
but
is,
you got
man,
to see the Ryman. Like the Ryman is.
Yeah, that was unbelievable, man. Just
it's its own vibe.
It's its own magic, and that night they all knew it and they felt it, and it was just incredible. And Chris Hillman, I used to teach at a place in Chicago called the Old Town School of Folk Music, and Hillman is like one of the unbelievable. I mean, Roger McGuinn too, but Hillman has an incredible folk career as an independent solo artist. So he came through and played the folk school numerous times, and just blew my mind. I mean, as does Roger McGuinn, but Chris Hillman just came out with a book recently that was super cool. Just an unbelievable history between those guys talking about the West, the West Coast country rock scene and how that whole thing shaped up and transpired. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, they were, and it's funny because they were kind of like ground zero, the Byrds, for the whole, everything was like built on the Byrds.
Right.
And
Crosby,
going up to Tom Petty, all the way even that far into, the later 70s that it just, man, everything. It's funny how you can connect almost everything involving that music scene back to those guys, that original group, like you said, with Crosby and just all of them. And then, through the, the Linda Ronstadt, like Clarence White was playing on the Linda Ronstadt albums. And there's just they were all intermingling with each other.
And the Eagles too, the Eagles obviously are a big part of
same
that.
thing.
Some of those.
Well, because you got like you got the Graham connection with the Byrds, and then you got, Graham going to the Flying Burrito Brothers and Bernie Ledden. Like Bernie Ledden was a Flying Burrito brother, and then he became an Eagle. And so, it's crazy, man. Super cool history.
And when Keith Richards says, "Hey, man, you got to slow down," Graham Parsons was that crazy, right? So he used to hang out with Keith Richards, and Keith Richards was the one to sort of babysit him and be like, "Dude, you might want to not do that much many drugs and drink much, and just." When Keith Richards tells you that, it's pretty fierce,
dude. Yeah, Graham is an interesting character that I was obsessed with Graham, and I've been in some pretty deep discussions with people over it, and it's funny because there's not a lot of people that liked Graham Parsons, that they were just like, man, this guy was just a complete and utter screw up that had a bunch of money, and he was, this and that, and
a loose cannon.
He was a loose cannon. And even, Chris Hillman, I think Chris Hillman's view has softened over the years over him and Graham, because I think they were best buddies. And then I think that he kind of felt that Graham just went off and left him. And then I think that Chris was like, well, I'm leaving you, buddy, because you're just all hopped up on everything. And,
right.
And so it was funny because.
Go ahead.
Yeah. During that Sweetheart of the Rodeo tour, Roger McGuinn was talking about it. And it was funny because Marty Sturt walked over and he kind of like gave him this little pat on the shoulder because he was starting to kind of get heated over Graham. You could tell on stage.
Going down that path.
Marty was like, "Come on, man, let's move the show along."
Let's move it along.
And so it was interesting. But Graham's an interesting character.
Well, if anybody digs into the Graham Parsons story, you find out the whole Joshua Tree, weirdness with the stealing of the body, and that was his buddy burnt his body, and because he wanted to be buried at Joshua Tree and all that. So it's a fascinating, and I think there's a movie about it, and isn't the guy from Jackass in it?
Johnny Knoxville's in it.
Johnny Knoxville. I haven't seen that yet. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, man. Johnny's playing. It's pretty good. I mean, Johnny Knoxville's funny, and I met Phil Kaufman. So Phil Kaufman's the guy who stole his body. which he was everybody's road manager. He ended up being Emmylou Harris's road manager.
Oh, okay.
And just last year at the late night jam that Marty puts on, Phil Kaufman was at it, and I got to go over and shake his hand and meet him. He was on stage, and he's an old man now, but yeah, they made a pact at Clarence White's funeral that they said, Clarence wouldn't have wanted to have a funeral like this. And now I can't say for certain if Clarence wanted that or not, because, you get a bunch of guys hopped up on drugs and booze, a lot of things are said, but they decided right then and there, Graham Parsons and Phil Kaufman both shook each other's hand and said, whoever dies first, take us out to Joshua Tree and burn us. And Graham died. It may have been 2 months later.
And that was at Clarence. That was at Clarence White's funeral. They did that.
Yeah, the pact was made at Clarence White's funeral, which I would like to note. Graham Parsons got thrown out of Clarence White's funeral for being so hopped up on booze.
My gosh! Wow.
So yeah, it's
incredible. Lou Ann Bergman. Yeah. She's got all kinds of comments on here saying she loves you and the Birds. So glad we saw them with y'all. Best concert ever. And then she says, "Grand Theft Parsons."
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome,
yeah.
Lou Ann. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Incredible.
Yeah. We went to the Sweetheart of the Rodeo show with her and her husband. And so
cool.
It was killer. So good.
Great. So talk to me a little bit about 2018 and this Ameripolitan Awards, man. How did this all come to be?
Well, we had kind of been trying to get nominated just to be part of it the year before, and we had released a really not very good album, and didn't have many fans. The first album was Home Sweet Honky-Tonk. And so that's since been removed from everywhere because it wasn't a very good record. That's just all. That was it. We had very limited time to cut it. So
okay. Gotcha.
So we did that, and then the next year we cut another album, and yeah, man, we got nominated, and we went to Memphis. We missed when it was in Texas, because for years it was in Texas.
It was down in Austin. So right.
It was down in Austin, and so
for those that don't know that Dale Watson's kind of the catalyst behind the Ameripolitan Awards. He's sort of the brains behind it all. And I don't know if it was sort of I think it was pretty obvious, kind of a shake towards, or a scoffs towards, the Grammys and sort of the mainstream country music scene and whatever else, or even the country music awards in general. But he started this sort of what's called Ameripolitan Awards, and it sort of examines and brings light to great bands like the Reeves Brothers and Lara Hope and the Artones, and tons of great people that I love and they don't get the notice, right? I mean, it seems like they kind of fly under the radar in a lot of senses. They're not as mainstream as one would hope, but so for those, just a little backbone story on what Ameripolitan Awards is. That's what he's talking about. So then Dale Watson moved it to Memphis. I believe 2018 was the first year, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. That was the first year they had it in Memphis, and it was great. They did it up the first year at you were there, at the guest house at Graceland, and so we kind of just ended up taking like run of the whole hotel. All the musicians did, and it was great.
That lobby jam,
it was super. The lobby jams, the lobby jams were amazing, and and so it was super good. We ended up meeting the best thing that came out of the whole Ameripolitans for us. We met a ton of amazing people out of it, but we met Kevin Skurla, who ended up being our producer on the last Honky Tonk, and so
great.
Yeah, he produced all that, and now he's like our brother. So
cool.
He plays steel for us, and
it's all the like-minded folks, man. Right? You just meet all these like-minded people, and they're kind of all doing the same thing, or at least trying to, and you know, a lot of great touring bands that are you know, that was the night. Well, yeah, when we arrived, that was the night. Actually, during that lobby jam was when I met Lara Hope, and you know, and then I put her record out on my label, Sower Records, and and so she's become, you know, her and Matt, her husband, have become super good friends with me. But me and my wife rather, and so it's but yeah, just you're right. It just sort of like, you know, kind of that whole thing just brings these people together, and it's really all about these late night jams.
For sure, man. For sure.
Crazy. It's crazy. Some of those late night jams were just
and it's funny because I mean, I was telling some. Oh yeah, they're amazing, and it's funny because there's usually like 3 or 4. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to get clicks that start. You know, even at the Ameripolitans, you know, it's funny because you'll see all the kind of honky tonkers in one group, and then all the Western swing people over in another group. And there's like 4 different jams going on. You know,
bluegrassers,
stuff.
all the bluegrass people.
You got the bluegrassers, and and so it's an interesting thing, and so I'm happy. I think it's coming back. It'll be back next year. I guess they've already got the nominations and stuff out for people. So I think it's coming back. It'll be fun. I'm hoping we'll be able to go. So
yeah, I hope so too, man. I'm going to try to do it too. The year after we couldn't make it for some reason, and then obviously 2020 hit, and then they didn't have it. But 18 was such an off the chain year. It was just incredible down there. But so talk to me about kind of what, you know, when did you and your brother start playing music? I know your dad sort of obviously had you on stage doing stuff, and I've seen pictures of you guys at a really young age playing with dad, but when did it sort of click to become what we know now as the Reeves Brothers?
Well, Cole and I were sharing a manager named Steven Martinez. And I don't know if you know Tony Martinez or not, but he's Tony Martinez's cousin. Okay. And Steven was managing Cole and I, and independently, I had a kind of a rockabilly thing going on that, oddly, like rockabilly / Southern rock / if I ran out of songs, I started doing classic country thing going on. So
sure.
And
what was that called? Was that under Cole, was that under your name, or what was that?
It was. I took my dad's band name, and it was Matt Reeves and the All Americans.
Okay.
And so,
yeah.
So we did that, and we never cut anything. We were playing, you know, a ton of cover gigs and just making a good living doing that. And
sure.
And we were down south. Cole was in Nevada, and Cole had a classic country gig going on up there, and finally, after Cole decided, I'm moving back. I've been here for about 4 or 5 months, and I'm sick of being out here doing this. And so our manager called us up on Cole's. It was right before Cole got there, and Cole got back to Arkansas, and he said, "Man, why don't you guys start the Reeves Brothers? And that way you don't have to pay me separately. You can just pay me, you know, for one act." And so Cole and I were like, shit, no, we are not going to know. That ain't happening. And so
why was that?
Before, I don't know. Cole and I mean, now we've kind of gotten the groove of just, this is what we do. But we both were very much like we were both just wanting to show off and put on just a crazy, you know, energetic show. Okay. And 2 people can't do that. That's all there is to it. 2 people can't be, you know, all the time going. And that's so
a lot of lightning in one bottle.
Know,
yeah. Right.
And so finally we just I realized I didn't want to be going that much anyways. And so Cole has the jumping around stuff, and and he does that, and he's kind of the showman of the group, and I can sit back and do the stuff. But
man, I don't know if I agree with that. I think your playing kind of speaks for itself, and like both of you are great guitar players. I mean, it's just unbelievable what both of you guys do. But I
appreciate that, man.
I wonder. I found a great video of the two of you playing. Would maybe we could listen to a little bit of that? Can we play that? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I love it.
Yeah. Let me see if I can play this. I want to just play this video real quick. This is the Reeves Brothers, ladies and gentlemen.
This old Budweiser beer is tasting better all the time. I'm still crazy, but you're out of my mind. They know me by my name, and I always look the same when I stumble out of here each night at closing time. You don't need to come around. I wish you'd leave town. You need to understand that we are done. I've had it with the tears, let me drink my ice cold beer. I'll take the loss so you can think you won. Hey, I don't miss those lonely nights of you laying by my side. I'd rather be here in this bar than in your jail. I love the neon lights, been learning how to fight. Lord, I've acquired quite a hand for raising hell. You don't need to come around. I wish you'd leave town. You need to understand that we are done. I've had it with the tears. Just let me drink my ice cold beer, and I'll take the loss so you can think you've won. I'll take whiskey any kind, bourbon, corn, or rye. Don't mind this lady here that's come to take me home. 'Cause I ain't leaving here tonight. It ain't close to closing time. I feel bad that she's leaving here alone. You don't need to come around. I wish you'd leave town. You need to understand that we are done. I've had it with the tears. Let me drink my ice cold beer, and I'll take the loss so you can think you've won. This old Budweiser beer is tasting better all the time. I'm still crazy. You're out of my mind.
Wow, good Lord. Some of the bucket it down, some of the chicken picking in that is just stupid good. Stupid good, man.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you,
the sound of
man.
that beat
Thank
bender
you.
too. That's the B bender right there, folks. If you're wondering what the hell he's playing.
That is the B bender.
That's the B bender. And do you have the official sticker from Nudie on that? Do you have the sticker?
I do. I do have a nudie sticker on there.
Where did you find it?
So one of my absolute best friends, well, he's like mine and Cole's brother as well, Johnny Isaacs. He's a huge collector down in Nashville. And Johnny is the only guy that I know who actually has the Frankfurt sticker that's on Clarence's guitar, an actual one.
Yeah,
and
right
so
here. Check it out, dude. Check it out.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
That's
one of those.
This hasn't gone on mine yet. I have to figure it out how to put it on. I haven't done it yet.
Dude, yeah, they're hard. They're hard to get them lined up right.
They're hard to find. Yeah, they're hard to find.
They are hard to find. They are. And so Johnny had he had a little strip of nudie stickers that he had.
The original one. Was it original ones?
He had an original one, and he took that original one down because with the thing is, after like 2 or 3 of them making copies, like if you make a copy of a copy, pretty soon it's just a blur. He had an original one, and he took down and he made just a few of them. He gave 2 of them to Marty Stewart. And so, kidding. He gave 2 because Marty's, I can speak on this because Kevin Skurla was with Marty Stewart about a week ago, and he said there's 3 nudie stickers. So the original one's a black hat, and then Marty, I don't know if there was another black hat put on top of that one, and then there was then a white hat sticker. But there's 3 nudie stickers on it right now, and he's just put them over the top of each of them. And so when they've faded off, but yeah,
Crazy.
I've got. I was telling somebody that I had. Hold on here. I've got one that I just bought from Yeah. Oh shoot, Mike! I'm dropping my phone.
You're good.
Hold on, dude. So I've got a whole layer over here of guitars. But so Jamie Nudie, she couldn't find the original black hat picture, and she wanted to make some more stickers, and she just couldn't find that original sticker. And Johnny didn't have an original, like the actual picture. And so she ended up making some new ones. I've got it here on this guitar, but
there it is. You can see it, guys. It's basically for those listening on the radio, or podcast rather, this is a picture of Nudie from like neck up, and it just has a sort of a rainbow text says Nudie on it. And these are super rare, very, very rare. And from my understanding, he gave these stickers away in his shop. So like I feel like the story I heard was that there used to be a storefront shop that you could walk into and like shop around. Like he made some jackets that were available in the storefront and stuff like that. And this was sort of a thanks for shopping with us type gift that they used to give to people. And the one that I found was the daughter sent me one in the mail, one of the original ones, and it didn't have any stick to it. It was just, she had found a strip of them or something. She had found some, and I was very lucky to get, and then she signed her name on it and everything. It was crazy. So
they're hard to like. Yeah. I said, I was so lucky, because Johnny didn't have a whole bunch of them. And it's funny. My gosh, it's funny because everybody goes to him now because they want those stickers, and he's like, no, man, I'm not. I'm not the nudie guy, the nudie sticker guy. But
man, I should figure out a way to make those. I bet, and then maybe get her permission. I'm sure a lot of people out there are trying to find them. But they're kind of like the holy grail of putting those on your guitar. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, this one that's on this telly is she found another picture of Nudie, and she just made these up, and so it's a fresh, brand new thing. But this is not the original one that was on Marty's, and it's also not the one that's on Marty's now. This is a third version of it.
Oh my gosh!
And so,
incredible! Did you lacquer over the top of it?
No, I just stuck it on there. Dude, I'm hard on guitars. I beat the hell out of guitars. Like
I was going to say, you might have to lacquer over that so you don't ruin it. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So that's my whole thing with these, with these stickers. Sometimes you have to lacquer over stuff, and I just don't want to screw it up. I'm not sure.
No.
You got to find the right guy to do it, but yeah. See, these are the rabbit holes I'm talking about. You've gone down these rabbit holes trying to recreate these relics of amazing country music history, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to see you guys doing that, and just being incredible guitar players. The chicken picking. Man. You do this thing now. Are you familiar with a guitar player? I'm sure you are. Daniel Donato, who's playing right now.
I am.
That kid, if anybody listening out there doesn't know him, check him out. He has a great podcast actually called The Lost Highway. But his whole thing is he has branded himself basically under the moniker of Cosmic Country, right? And he's a super nice kid. And I actually was very lucky enough to take some guitar lessons with him during the pandemic, because I was trying to help support artists that I knew were sort of out of work. And, and I reached out to him on a whim on Instagram, and I said, hey man, if you ever have some time, it'd be awesome to pick your brain on some guitar. And graciously, he was like, absolutely, let's do it. And so we did some guitar lessons, but he does this hybrid picking thing. Where, and you do it too. Can you tell the people about that?
Yeah, maybe a little. I will say this: Daniel Donato knows a lot more music theory than me. I'm just getting by on shit that I've heard. But
sure.
yeah, I mean, you use, forever people thought I was hybrid picking when, but I wasn't. I was just,
just hitting the triplets and stuff. Yeah.
And Palm Mutant, I have started hybrid picking now a little bit. I'll get this more towards that, but yeah, it's where you're using, basically all these fingers. So like Chet Atkins or Merle Travis would probably be like the, I don't know if you can hear that through here, but
just a little bit,
things like that.
Right. It's basically kind of like using, you've got your thumb and your number one finger. If you're talking about guitar players, we got, your pointer fingers, your one, and then so on and so forth, middle fingers 2, ring fingers 3, pinkies 4. But what you're doing is you're basically pinching the pick, but you're also using like your other fingers, which is, you've got other fingers, guitar players. Don't forget about those other, might as well use
true. You
really
should.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind. I do folk picking, like a sort of a Scruggs style banjo roll, which is really similar, but it doesn't have the sort of the guy that made it famous was a guy named Danny Gatton. And Danny Gatton's style was very hybrid like that, and
and Gatton
again,
just mind blowing. Danny Gatton is ridiculous.
Yeah, right. If you don't know who that is, people pull his stuff up. It's just the double stops and the Travis style picking that he pulls out is unbelievable. And the guy was so insane. I don't want to use that word because he did end up committing suicide, sadly.
He did.
But he was just an unbelievably good guitar player. That's what I meant to say. But
ridiculous.
Yeah, just
so
one of these cats that was just almost like a freak of nature, really, on guitar.
Yeah.
When you're talking about honky-tonk guitar picking, but yeah, I mean, I would say he's probably in your top influences. Who else is? Could you tell us who is some of your growing up great guitar pickers that you learned from?
This is funny because this conversation happened last night with I was saying last night Cole and I were backing Bonnie Montgomery, and Cole was on bass and I was playing guitar, and she was opening for the Wallflowers. And so one of the guys, the guy came up to me after the gig. I don't know. Hell, everybody in that damn band is a guitar player, but everybody's playing different instruments, which it's hilarious. The bass player is a guitar player, like the lap steel player is a guitar player, and then obviously the guitar player is a guitar player.
Right.
And so the lap steel player came up to me and he's like, "Man, there's 2 things that I have found out from watching you, that you love B. Bender and you must love Albert Lee." And
right. Okay.
And I do love Albert Lee. But my main dude that I probably have stole more licks from is James Burton. I'm a huge James Burton. Like that. James Burton, I love a ton of his licks. Yeah. Okay. Burton and then Marty. Obviously, even more so than Clarence. Clarence White's licks to me are too hard to play. I don't know how Clarence played a bunch of that shit, and I can't figure it out.
Isn't it true? Though? Even Sweetheart of the Rodeo, my God, everybody plays it different.
Everybody plays it different, and Clarence had this. I've plugged in now, but Clarence did this. He does this stuff where it's he's doing a ton of those like this. He's going to the 7ths and he's rolling, and I'm not doing a good job at
it's almost
emulating him.
Almost pedal steel licks, really.
And he's doing those pedal. He was doing those B-Bender licks long before he got B-Bender, and I guess just finally it was a necessity that thank God that Gene Parsons was able to build it for him.
Wow,
and
man,
so,
crazy.
But James Burton, Phil Baugh, Marty Stewart, Albert Lee, guys like that. Those are my top 3. Bob Wofford and Clarence White. That's about my top of the list.
I'm sure Don Rich is somewhere in there.
Don Rich is the same way. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I
right.
love,
Yeah. Don Rich was the guitar player for Buck Owens, and
yeah.
I love Buck Owens. I think he's one of my very first Dishin with musicians was with Jim Shaw from the band.
Oh wow.
From the
Yeah.
Buckaroos. Yeah, and
yeah,
I reached out to Jim and asked him if he wanted to be on the show, and he graciously said yes. He actually runs the Crystal Palace in Bakersfield, California, and super nice guy. Just he was like the bookkeeper for Buck Owens, for and the keyboard player for Buck Owens for years in the band.
He was,
and then ran the Crystal Palace for him, and to this day he still does. And it's kind of like a restaurant museum at this point. Have you been to the Crystal Palace before?
We've been there a lot. We've been there, I think, 3 or 4 times. And
is that right? Okay, cool.
Our current manager is our cousin Scott Reeves, and so he was in a band called Blue County in the early 2000s. They had a group, and so they used to tour. Like that was part of the radio tour from Curb Records, was to make sure and hit KUZZ radio and play the Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
And so we've been there a bunch, and so it's honestly, it's probably the nicest venue out there for country music. It's a shame that
you've played there.
We've never played there. We've honky-tonked there as kids.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Man, you guys got to play there. Holy moly, you guys would be perfect for that venue.
I know, man. We would love to do that. We were talking about that with somebody here recently from out west, and it'll happen sooner or later, but
sure. Yeah.
I wish it was sooner, man. Yeah, it's an amazing club. Just gorgeous. So
that club, it was a great conversation. If anybody wants to go back and hear it, it's episode number 1, and he talks about Buck playing there all the time and bringing his favorite people through, and and he talks about the last night he played there, and he died that night. It was just he was walking out of the club and he was sick. He didn't feel well. And he, on his way out, he saw a big carload of people, and they said, "Oh man, there's Buck Owens. It looks like he's leaving." And then they approached him and they said, "Where are you going? We came here to see you." And he goes, "Oh man, well, I don't feel well, but I'm going to play the best show I can for you tonight." So he turned around, sick, not feeling well, basically on his dying way, and went back in and played a show for a couple hours for these people, and then ended up passing away that night. It was just crazy, but that's just the kind of guy he was, But
he was totally insane. He was a really great show. There's a lot of there's a ton of stories, obviously, of Buck and Red Simpson. So Red Simpson was a really good friend of mine and my dad's and just our family. So Red wrote Sam's Place for Buck.
Oh, I love Sam's Place.
And so
my band
and Red
that,
had dude, Sam's Place is it's wonderful, and it's a killer tune, and Red kind of had his own like truck driving music career, where he had big hits with that, but Red used to tell me, he's like, Buck goes in every day. He's like, he has the same routine, because he said, I've watched him do it so many times. He said, Red Simpson walks into his office at the Crystal Palace, and he's like, there's a safe in the wall, and he opens his safe and he brings out a briefcase, and he said, in that briefcase is $1 million in $100 bills. And he said he opens it and he runs his hands over the top of it, and then he closes it and he just puts it back in the safe.
What?
And he's like, every day he does that.
Holy
is that not crazy?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was.
See, I kind of do the same thing, but I sleep on it. I actually sleep on that.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing, man. Oh my gosh.
In my dreams, I do that.
Yeah, in your dreams, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible, man. Wow.
Yeah,
that's outrageous.
It's crazy, man. Yeah. Red was like, man, he's like, he loves money. He loves feeling that money.
Oh, well, you can tell he was really good at it too. He was good at making it, and
he was crazy good with money. Buck Owens understood the music business,
totally, all the way down to making. I actually have one of his guitars. It's a crazy story, and I told this with your brother Cole real quick. I told him that Jim Shaw and I got to talking, and I really wanted one of the Buck's American guitars, and Jim Shaw called me back and said, we dug around the basement for one, he's talking about the original one. Like they sell at the restaurant, they sell kind of shitty ones, like kind of
that's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the version I got.
They probably aren't super shitty, but I mean, they're not the
original. No. They are super shitty.
Oh, I can
shitty? Promise you that.
Okay. Well, see, I've never played one, so I shouldn't have said that. But at the same time, like I just from the looks of it, it wasn't the original one that I wanted.
No.
And they're so expensive, and guys from like the dude from the Foo Fighters had one, and or Nirvana played one, and Ryan Adams kind of brought them back to life recently, but they're called the American, and I believe they were made in Chicago under, and I could be wrong on this, I think Harmony made them at the time. That might have been when Gibson bought Harmony or something like this. There was some anyway, Jim Shaw called me back and he goes, I found something, in the basement, and, we tried to put it together for you, but, it didn't quite, hit for what you guys wanted. And I was looking for something that we could put in the Hall of Fame, because my uncle used to bring Buck to Nebraska. So my dad and I run the Hall of Fame here in Nebraska. And so I thought it'd be cool for this guitar to live in the Hall of Fame someday. And so, and he goes, but there's a guitar sitting in Buck's office that he was going to give to, oh my gosh, what was her name? Famous country singer.
Lori Morgan.
Lori Morgan. Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, man, I just forgot it. But yeah, Lori Morgan. And man, he pulled this guitar out of Buck's untouched office. It hadn't been touched in like a decade since he died. Like notes and stuff and paperweights were on his desk. They hadn't touched it. Like him going in there was just kind of weird. And and he goes, we found this box in Buck's office, and it's got one of the guitars for Lori Morgan in it. If you want to buy this one, we'll give it to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking like in my head like $10,000-$15,000. Yeah. And I was like, and he called me back with this stupid low price, almost like under $1,000. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like, I feel bad. I might even call Lori Morgan and just give it back to her, and just be like, what? Like, what's happening right now? And so he sold it to me, sent it to me with like 5, like 8x10 signed by Buck, and like all this stuff that seemed like he grabbed it out of the museum almost as if, it was so crazy. And so, and my wife was in the works of finding me one for my 40th birthday. And then I told her this story, and she just kind of stopped and paused and was like, are you kidding me? Like, what? And so it's an original, straight in the box, untouched. It even had Buck's like sister's name on it as the shipping manager.
Wow.
Wow. Like what? Are you kidding? Like, it was just a bizarre situation. And Jim was just really nice about it. And he goes, I'm going to send it to you, and, take care of it. It's going to be in good hands and whatever else. And, I even reached out to, somebody was on the show. I'm trying to remember who it was, but they were in Lori Morgan's band.
Wow. Okay.
And I said, ask her about this guitar, because I will graciously give it back to her. It's a gift from, it was a gift from Buck to her.
Sure.
And I felt bad about it. I was like, Jesus, I don't want to, this is like, I shouldn't have this, so anyway, and it never happened.
Dude,
like he never mentioned it to her. And, just one of those crazy situations. And she was married to, Lori Morgan was Keith Whitley at the time. And Keith Whitley and her did a European tour with Buck Owens. And, and as an act of kindness, Buck would reach out to people that he toured with and say, and said, hey, this is my sort of, gift to you guys. And he'd give them one of these guitars, and they, at the time, they weren't great guitars, but they're very distinct for people like you and I now. They sound great, so anyway, that's how it all came to be. Keith Whitley took his gift, but she did not. That's how.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so crazy. So
Yeah, I'm sure that yours sounds way better than the cheap box I got.
Well, that's just who knows, man? Maybe they're the same, because that was sort of the boxy, crappy guitar sound that they were, that's so sought after. And even Buck used them in the studio. You know, he used them to play in the studio because they're very distinct, shitty, cheap guitar sound. And that's kind of what people go for, they want that high tenor, or that sort of like, that high tone coming through the microphones, and it wasn't a really body based sound. And
that's kind of like Buck Owens' tone, is like that high,
right?
That high rich coming through AM radio, just piercing your ears. You know?
Exactly, and that's kind of what they were going for, and so
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah,
it just worked. Yeah. It's very crazy.
It was 100% their sound.
Yeah, man. Sometimes we come across these gems, and my dad's got a great story about a 57 Les Paul he came across. It's a original Black Beauty that he owns, and it's just kind of fell into your lap, and the universe says, you're supposed to have this. Yep. It's one of those great stories. We all have them. Like us guitar freaks, we have those stories where we come across these guitars and they just sort of fall into your lap and they become your own. So what's your favorite piece that you have? What's your favorite guitar?
Well, I have got, I've got this here, and I drove down today because I knew it was up at Cole's house, because I've been playing it. We played Kane's Ballroom over in Tulsa this past weekend, and
man, I saw some video of that. It was great.
Man, it was so cool. It was amazing.
Big room of people.
I think I know there was 1,200 pre-tickets sold, and they said, I think the room holds about 1,800, and I think that there was pretty close to 1,800 by the end of the night.
Wow,
it was
great show.
It was an amazing night. And so, but this guitar that I've got here, oh boy, I'll get it here. Let me get this thing off here. You can hear my case is cracking. This fell into my lap kind of the same way.
Okay.
So there was a guy back in the 70s named Eddie Drake. And so Eddie Drake was on Capitol Records, and he was he was a good friend of my dad's, but you can see like all of the
it's got his name
gold
on it.
leaf. Yeah. And like it goes
under the lacquer? Is that under the lacquer?
That's inlaid in the wood.
Inlaid in the wood, gold floral.
Yeah. It's like gold. It's gold, like gold pearl. That's inlaid crazy. In the wood. And so it's a 73 telly, and you can still see all the smoke. The reason it's CL, that's all smoke.
Oh, dude, classic 70s Fender headstock too, man.
Dude. And oddly enough, right before Eddie passed away, I was talking with my dad about, I kind of got obsessive over Eddie Drake because Eddie played a big leather Telecaster that he had wrapped in the early 60s. And so when Waylon and the Wailers came to town, they saw that telly and ended up getting, his leather telly wrapped because of Eddie. And that was like Eddie's thing, was that he was like super, obviously he loved being showy and flashy, so anyways, I made a post and I said something in regards to, where's Eddie Drake's telly at? And this guy said, well, this was back, I don't know if I'm sure you're on the TDPRI, the Telecaster forum.
I've seen it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so I was a member when I was, 18 or 19, maybe earlier than that. And so this dude said, I own Eddie Drake's telly. And so I said, well, send me a picture of it. And he sent me a picture of this, and I was like, nah, that's not Eddie Drake's telly. And he's like, well, he said, well, it's not his leather telly. And he said, Eddie sold this to me just a couple of years ago. He said he was needing money, and he said he hadn't really played this one much, and it was just sitting around his house. And he's like, what? I said, well, would you ever sell it? And he's like, yeah, I'll sell it. And
just like that. Wow. Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm old. Oh, he didn't even play guitar. The guy's like, I don't even play guitar. I just bought it because I thought it looked cool.
What?
And so anyways, this would go on 5 or 6 years back and forth between me and this guy. After he said, I'll sell it. And he started off and he's like, I want $5,000 for this guitar. And I was like, no, man, this is at the time, 73 tellies, you could pick these things up all day long. And I was like, man, this didn't add any value to this guitar other than the fact I'm the only one who knows who Eddie Drake is.
Oh, Jesus,
so by the end of it, I got a killer deal on it. I think that I paid maybe $1,400, something like this for this telly. But it went on and on and on dealing with the dude. And he was super nice and everything, but I literally sent him the money. I'd never met him. And I just sent him a cashier's check, and I sent it with a prayer because I was like, I've just sent this dude this cashier's check. And like the guitar ended up showing up about a week later after I sent him the check. And I was in Nevada. He was in Florida. But yeah, so this is like one of my, this is my in regards to Telecasters, this would be my last guitar I would get rid of is this.
Right on. And do you play that out quite a bit or no?
I play. Yeah, I have played it out a lot.
Okay. Cool.
I quit playing it out because we were down in Dallas and we had never had anything happen to us like this. We were staying at some fancy hotel, which was also something that never happened to us. And we usually were in like Motel 6s and everything, but we randomly decided one night to that we were like, oh, we'll leave our stuff in the car. And I left that telly in the trunk, and Kelly left his bass. He had this Thunderbird bass that he left in the back in the back seat, and we woke up and they had smashed the window out of the car, and they stole the bass guitar. They stole like these Ray-Ban sunglasses that we had in there. They stole Kelly's cowboy hat, and then oddly enough, I had just bought this 72 Vibrolux, and it had the original leather cover that went over it. It said Fender on it.
Oh,
and they stole just that cover. So like they just grabbed whatever they could. And I was like, oh my God. And Eddie Drake's telly was still in the trunk.
Oh,
and they hadn't got that. And I was like, man, that's freaked me out. So I didn't,
too close for comfort, man. Wow.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm just going to start leaving it at home and playing some other guitars.
I think Dale Watson's guitar just got stolen not too long ago.
It did. Yeah, his Tompkins.
Did they find it?
Which I don't think they did. They stole his van like while he was eating. He was in like a restaurant. Van? They stole the whole freaking van with the money, and I think that they just found the van like left. Like in a field and not far away from wherever it was at, wherever it was stolen. And I think they ended up recovering the money and recovering other things, but I don't think they've recovered the guitar.
Oh my gosh. And that's iconic. I feel like if those idiots take it into any pawn shop to sell, you would think that people would know whose guitar that is. I mean, it's maybe a 1 degree of separation of somebody that would know what the hell that is.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it was same thing. Somebody stole Junior Brown's freaking Get Steel. And it's like,
that too. Yeah. Junior Brown's he plays a lap steel and a telly that's connected. And it's like, it's a very unique piece. Same thing. Yeah, you're right. That did get stolen.
And it's never come up. Like, we've talked about that just privately, and it's like whoever steals something like that knows they're not going to a pawn shop. They're literally stealing it for themselves because that guitar's never showed up like that. Some super fan of Junior Brown's has got that freaking Get Steel in their house, and they're like, I stole that. That's his steal.
I thought, man, if you're a fan, that would make it hard to even listen to the music.
Right.
Stole their goddamn guitar.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
It's ridiculous, but
that's so
that's kind of my in Telecaster world, that's my like number one thing. And then in acoustic, it's this. So this was my very first guitar.
Okay.
And
right. What is it?
So
tell us about it.
It's a 67 Martin that my dad gave me. And so it's an 016. Yeah. 67 Martin. And a dude came into the bar that our dad was working at in the mid 70s. And he said, I saw this guitar hanging at a pawn shop for $43. And I thought, man, Jack Reeves is always talking about Martin guitars. And he said, so I bought it. And he said, I brought it down. And if you want to give me the $43 I paid for it, he's like, I bought it because of you. And Dad was like, he looked at the headstock and he's like, man, if you can just find me a headstock that says Martin, I'll buy it for $43.
Oh my
and
God.
So, so he bought that. And then when I was
it's an open headstock, which I love. I play a 0017 SM, which has that same headstock.
Yes.
Yeah. It's super cool. The 17 SM is a little longer body than this one from the looks of it.
Yeah.
But
this is the smallest one, I think. In that little series.
That's killer though. That's really close to mine. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Mine's obviously newer than a 60. What did you say? 67? 60.
Yeah, 67.
Oof. Yeah, wow. Wonderful.
67. Yeah,
wow. That's sweet.
It's a good little guitar. So.
Have you had it refretted? Have you done anything to it?
No, it probably needs to be refretted. I have had some. So my dad had this guitar at his house, and his ex-wife was over at the time, and my dad and his ex-wife Laura, they were friends throughout until she passed away, and so it was a fine relationship, but she was dating this dude that came over to the house, and my dad walked in, and the guy didn't have a shirt on, and he was sweating all of his deodorant stain right there, it just went right through the finish. It was just raw right there.
Oh my gosh. Jesus.
Our dad kicked the guy. He kicked the guy out of his house. He's like, "Get the hell out of here!" and put my guitar down. And so the next day he called up Martin, which he really shouldn't have done because it totally devalued the guitar. But he sent it back to Martin and they refinished it. So the guitar was refinished. It was factory refinned by Martin.
Oh my God. It's like an anti-Old Spice commercial, man. What the hell? That's crazy.
Dude, I know. Jeez. So yeah, it's had that done. It needs new frets and then I've had a whole bunch of inside work. It's got little finish cracks on the wood there and stuff. So I've had people go in there and fix it up, and the bridge. Yeah, it's a great little sounding guitar.
Workhorse, man. That's what makes them the great.
Small and it sounds huge. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. I love that. That's incredible. That's kind of the little. Can I tell you a story? The when I got my Martin 0017, I saved up for a long time for it.
Oh yeah, dude! Please.
I got it in the mail. Opened it up. I left for some stupid reason. I got a phone call or something, and I just put it in the case and I lowered the case. Never do that. Guitar players never do that. Always latch the case, because what's going to happen is you're going to forget you didn't latch it. You're going to grab it like it's latched, and you're going to pick the case up, which I did. And sure enough, man, that lid flapped open, and I picked it up, and it came down on the face of the guitar, and it put a huge like gash right in the top of the guitar. And I was like, at first I was like, oh my God, I got to get that fixed. This is terrible. It looks terrible. And now it's just become this like thing. Like I just never fixed it, and I left it the way it.
Yeah.
Like you just have to, let it be. Like all the marks you put on it over the years, they're all like little memories, and they're all like little eccentricities about the guitar itself, and so I just left it, and it's just like it's one of the coolest sounding acoustic guitars. People always comment on like. And they ask me what kind of pickup it is, and it's just a simple like Fishman, saddle pickup under the Matrix with a little. I think they call it the Matrix, and it has a little 9-volt preamp, and it's just killer. It's like unbelievable acoustic guitar. But But yeah, nothing crazy. I mean, it's open headstock, which sucks for like restringing, but it's still,
it does suck.
But they
suck to restring them.
I think they sound better as like you get a better reverberation, I feel like. And I also put some really cool copper end pins in it. Which
yeah.
Do you have those too? Oh yeah.
I don't have them in that, but I did.
Yeah.
I had them. I had brass end pins in the last.
I'm sorry, they weren't copper. I'm sorry, they were brass. You're right, brass. That's what I've got in mind. And but it just gives it this like super cutting killer sound.
Yeah, dude, the brass, man.
Yeah, a lot of people use the wood or plastic, and I feel like it kills the sound a little bit. But the wood are better, obviously.
They sound great.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's for those bluegrass picker.
Yeah,
it's like when you're really digging into some of the bluegrass licks and stuff.
Yeah, no, those the brass end pins. I mean, it does it.
Yeah, it gives it kind of a more cutting vibe,
something like that.
And I got that idea from a friend of mine.
Those bluegrass players are a different freaking breed, man.
They are. Well, I actually got it from a friend of mine. His name is Gunter Volker. He plays in a band called Jack Hotel here in Nebraska, and his music's just phenomenal. He's a killer guitar player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great band, Jack Hotel. But
Jack Hotel.
Yeah, you just pick up all these little things, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah. And I had the luxury of working at the old
dude, yeah, still on borrow.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, people would come in. I sold a guitar to Arlo Guthrie one time. Check this out. He comes into the guitar store I was working at, and he was playing that night at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and he comes into the store, and I'm just like, oh my God, my eyes just like, I was like frozen, Arlo Guthrie, Woody Guthrie's son, like who inspired Bob Dylan to be Bob Dylan, right? I mean, and it's like here, Arlo Guthrie's just hanging out, walking around, picking up guitars, trying them out. And he turns to me and he goes, what do you want for this like little Silvertone guitar? And it was like somebody brought it in on like consignment, and it was like a super shitty boxy, like you and I were talking about before. Like super,
exactly.
Stella was a shitty brand. I mean, there's a bunch of them like Harmony, Stella, what's the other one? Silvertone, K,
Silvertone,
right.
K.
Yeah, and they all kind of have this boxy shit sound, right? And
they're all the same. They're all the same guitar. They were all made by the same company.
Yeah,
and they just were rebranded. Yeah,
just stick a different name on it. So he picks this guitar, this Stella guitar, and he goes, "Hey man, what do you want for this guitar? I like it a lot." And I go, "I think they want a couple hundred, like $200 for it." And he goes, "Sold, man. I'll take it." He goes, "What do you know about it?" And I go, I'm not sure the backstory. It's a consignment piece. A fellow brought it in, just selling it. That's all I know about it. And here I am talking to Arlo Guthrie, like, it was just like, I was just like stuttering over words. Wow. I probably sounded like a total idiot, and he goes, "I'll take it. This sounds great." And I went to go see him play that night, and he played it in the show, dude. He used it in the show.
Dude, how cool.
Yeah. He used
how
it in
freaking cool is that?
I know, he played it in the show, and he didn't talk about it. He just picked it up and played it like it was a part of his rep, like his arsenal. And he's like, he's like playing, what was it, Alice's Restaurant?
Yeah.
And shit. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, it's another little quip story.
Wow.
Sold a guitar.
Dude, I love that.
It's so dumb.
That is like, so cool. I mean, dude, no.
Just kind of.
I mean, he's the son of a freaking just like Majesty. Cole and I were talking about it like that last night with the Jacob Dylan thing, and it's like
you opened for Jacob Dylan like last night.
Yeah, and it's like your dad is a freaking national treasure, and to him it's just like, well, that's his dad, and but to everybody else, it's like, man, that's Bob Dylan. I mean, Bob Dylan's his dad, so. It's crazy.
So it's cool to hear that he's
super
still playing.
Crazy, man.
My
the
wife
world would be a different place without that man's dad.
Oh my God. It'd be a completely different world. Are you kidding me? Like, What we were driving back from a family reunion last night, and we were talking about Jakob Dylan. It's so funny that you brought this up, and I was like, man, I wonder if he's still playing. That's so I never hear much from him. I wonder what he's doing. And here you are playing with him, opening for him last night. How crazy is that? Jeez,
dude,
how was it?
And the show was great, and his band, freaking great A. And Cole and I didn't stick around. The other people that because we were backing up Bonnie Montgomery, another Ameripolitan singer, and so Bonnie stuck around, and she's like, I'm going to see if I can get on the bus. And man, me and Cole have been out, doing all these Justin Moore dates, and it's like, once you've seen one bus, you truly have seen every bus. And so we were just like, we're going to go get a burger, and so we went down to Midtown Billiards there in Little Rock, and I told Cole, anyways, I was like, man, they are not going to get on that bus anyways. They're just wasting their time. And sure as shit, they did get on the bus. And
awesome.
And so she was like, oh man, Jakob was just so freaking nice, and which he seems super nice from the stage too. Because dude, you hear so many stories about Bob Dylan just being like an ass to people. And sure. I was like, oh man, but definitely from the stage, like his stage persona was like super nice, like a super nice guy. And apparently off stage he was too. Yeah.
That's
so that
awesome
was nice to hear,
man. How great to hear that from somebody that, obviously grew up with a lot of money and security, and could be a total dick to whoever he wants and whatever else, but
definitely
that's amazing. Well, the One Headlight album, I mean, was huge. Like that song was massive, still is, but that's incredible. I need to dig into his catalog a little more. He's a great musician, but fascinating.
Really, man, they are. And it was funny because like after last night, I watched their show, and I am a Wallflowers fan. Like before I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Like they've got One Headlight, but dude, they got some killer tunes.
Really?
And,
awesome.
I'm going to say personally, I don't think nothing tops One Headlight as a song, but their tunes, they do have some phenomenal tunes.
That's a good song, man. So. And funny enough, the reason my wife and I brought it up because we were listening to it on the radio or on our Spotify or whatever, or our YouTube music is what it was. And I said, man, there's some lap steel or pedal steel going on. There's all kinds of layers going on in this song. It's like really badass. That song is super cool.
It is. It's really so ridiculous. I will tell you this, that Jakob Dylan is a fan of lap steel because he's got a lap steel player who is playing lap steel on every song.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he's got about 10 lap steels all just lined up there in a row. God. And so he's a fan of the lap steel.
That's rad, man. That's very cool to hear. That's super cool to hear.
Yeah.
Someday I got to get down to see you guys, man. Whether it's in Nashville or Arkansas or wherever, I gotta come see you guys in person. You and your brother.
Yeah, Mikey, you do, man.
I'm telling you, you and your brother. That. Yeah, I would just love it too. And you and your brother just have this super cool, almost family vibe. Like you're such a nice family. You guys are. Obviously you were brought up right, whether it was unconventional or not. You guys are just salt of the earth type people, and I can feel it. It's just a great thing, man. Yeah, and I think it probably shows.
That.
In fact, I know it does. It shows in your live show too. To other people. Like Jay Jennings just wrote The Real Deal. That term gets thrown around a lot. Oh, this dude's the real deal. And it's true about you guys. When I saw you guys play in Memphis,
thank you,
it was like, holy shit, these guys are the real deal, and it's like that traditional keeping family alive, keeping the old sound alive, whether it be through family or whatever. You guys do it. You guys really do it right. And it's
thanks, man. Thank you.
It's been a really cool pleasure to just get to know you and your brother, and make sure to send him all the love too, man. I haven't talked to him in a while, but someday these planets will cross, and maybe we could share the stage together someday. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm sure we know about 1,000 songs of the same.
Exactly. Exactly, man. We would absolutely love that.
That'd be cool. We got to get you to Nebraska too. You know, the Zoo Bar is one of our sponsors on this show, and Zoo Bar is kind of an iconic place here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm sure they'd love to have you guys, and it's incredible stuff.
Yeah, man. We would love to play there. We know about the Zoo Bar, man. We'd love to come up there and hit it one time.
Well, I'll work it out. Even for Zoo Fest, man. We'll get you guys for Zoo Fest. That'd be badass too. Pete Waters is the legend.
Yeah, dude. We would love that.
We'll make it happen. You guys would kill Zoo Fest for sure. So, yeah, man. So, it's nice to hear. What's like to come to, you know, I think we should close up shop here, but I want to get a little insight on what's next for the Reeves Brothers. What are you guys working on?
Man, we got a new single that's coming out here in about 5.5 weeks, something like that. We're dropping a new single. From here, we're hitting the road with Justin Moore on November 2nd and 3rd. We're going to be down in Lubbock, Texas, and then Midland, Texas.
Cool.
And then we're just doing some stuff around Nashville, and we're going into the studio to cut some more stuff, and then we're going to kind of take a small little week holiday break for Thanksgiving, and then a couple week holiday break for Christmas, and then we're hitting it hard after the new year. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming up next year.
That's amazing. So your vibe in Nashville is good. Like you guys are doing a lot of playing around there. Everything's. Are you doing Robert's Western World?
We actually don't do a lot of playing around there. We specifically moved to Nashville just for the business side of it.
Okay, cool.
We do play. We play a thing called Whiskey Jam, which is downtown in Nashville, and we've become. They have like the Jam Fam, and so they've added us to the Jam Fam, and they're great, man. You know, there's a lot of. Yeah, and you know this. There's a lot of people within the scene of Americana and Ameripolitan that, you know, say whatever they will about a lot of people in Nashville, but there's a ton of killer people and killer players and just everything, you know, that they're super just all positive and they back you, you know. So
that's great, man.
We can't say enough great things about Nashville.
You got to keep the good people close to you, man. That's what it's about, man, for sure. And you guys fall into that. That's awesome.
Amen. Yeah.
So, well, I can't wait to, you know,
Thank you so much, Mikey. So do you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I think my next trip down that way, I'm going to hit you up. We'll get together and we'll connect the dots even more. I know.
Please do.
Between our family conversations, it definitely connects a lot of cool dots, and hopefully the listeners tonight heard some of those cool stories. And go back and listen to the Cole Reeves one too. There's a bunch of awesome stuff there too, man. So, but. Well, awesome. Did I lose you?
Hell yes, man.
Oh, you're with me.
Yeah.
There you go. Right on.
You there, Mikey?
Well, yep, I'm here. I can hear you. Well, hey, everybody, I urge you to go check out the Reeves Brothers. Rock out to their unbelievable music. They got the videos all over the internet, too. Go check them out. Show them some love. Go see them when they come around near your parts. And, man, Matt, I can't thank you enough, buddy. Good to finally chat with you. And I'm sure you and I could talk till the wee hours in the morning. So about guitars, it's been fun.
Hell yes, Mikey. Yeah, brother. Thank you for having me, man. Yeah, you were awesome. And I love this. This was great, brother. Thank you so much.
We'll do it again. I'm sure you'll be around the bend. So until we see each other next time, Matt, thank you so much. All right, brother. I'll see you.
Thank you, Mikey.
All right. Cheers.
Have a good one, brother.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. That was Matt Reeves from the Reeves Brothers. Thank you to all the chatters that were chatting in, Lou Ann, Jade. Man, the list goes on. There's tons of great comments. Ken Winston, love you, brother. Samantha Presley, still love that album. Right on. Man, this is super fun. You know, like I said, we could go down so many rabbit holes with guys as cool as Matt Reeves and Cole Reeves and the Reeves Brothers, man, and Jack Reeves. Don't forget about do your homework on Jack Reeves. Check out some of his old recordings, man. Their dad was a legend, absolute legend. I'd like to thank Toon Balloon, Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame, Red Rebel Media, of course, and Zubar for being sponsors tonight. This is a great, great show. I'd like to keep it going. And if you have any ideas of people you'd like to see me interview, please send those in to me. I'm on Facebook and, of course, Instagram, too. You can check out my bands, the Riverhawks and the Bottle Tops. And, you know, as always, much love to you all for tuning in tonight to Dishin' with Musicians, episode 13 with Mr. Matt Reeves, legendary Reeves Brothers, man. Check them out. Much love, y'all. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
I'm dishing with musicians. I'm dishing with musicians. A talk show about history. I'm dishing with musicians. I'm dishing with musicians. Let's take a stroll down music history.